so bright, brighter than the rainbow. One night that we live tonight, let's ride till we're out of sight. So far, so they never fade down our halo. Oh, let it go. Oh, let it go. One moon to inspire these lines, one love to ignite our hearts, one song we'll be singing out loud. Oh, there's no stairway to the sky, but I believe it is a child. We'll fly, fly so high, no they can't make us calm down. Oh, let it go. Oh, let it go.
Welcome, everyone.
Hola, everybody.
Today, me and Serafin, the Midnight Bard, are going to be talking about the Ogopogo.
Hola a todos. Hoy yo, Serafin, y la 242 vamos a hablar del Ogopogo.
Really? You decide you're going to translate everything into Spanish?
No, but earlier you told me that I had a really great accent, so I decided to use it.
Fair enough. You do have a really good accent, though. Oh,
Hi, everybody.
they didn't hear any of
Hi.
that. Well done. They didn't hear any of that. Our audio's muted.
Did I hear it? Ah, no.
Why? No, yours is going. Oh, my mic's okay. Never mind, guys. Never mind. That one is muted up there. This one's not. Never mind. Sorry, guys. Sorry. My bad.
Okay, so they heard us?
Yes, they did. We're good.
Okay, fantastic. Good, because I wasn't planning on doing the accent a second time.
Well, it was like desktop audio muted, mic audio muted. Shit. And then I'll go down. My mic. Oh, Bard's mic. Oh, okay. Phew.
Well, hello, everybody. It is I, the Midnight Bard, and...
It's 242 who has technical difficulties every time she decides to do a live stream.
I'm starting to think that it's not a live stream unless you've addressed technical difficulties at least once.
At least.
At least once.
Maybe twice.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the stream. It depends on how hardcore you want to go. I do want to say hello to everyone in the chat, for we have chat people, and I see a lot of familiar faces.
Couldn't imagine why.
Yeah. So, starting off from the top, I see As the Raven Dreams. I see PA Nightmares. I see Patience G, Miss Creepy Tales. I see Laura is here too.
Or cat.
Laura or Cat. And yeah, welcome guys. Thank you for coming to hear about Canada's Loch Ness Monster.
One of Canada's Loch Ness monsters, by the way. I found that out in my research.
There's more than one.
There's another one in Ontario as well, called the Ogopogo. You just change the O to an I and you have it. I'm not kidding you.
That is interesting,
but
and not something that I would have expected.
But it's in the Great Lakes, which does make sense, because those lakes are oceans.
They're oceans?
They're huge. The Great Lakes are really big. They're like, they might as well be oceans, man. They're huge.
Gotcha. Okay, well, in that case, I'm excited to hear about the Ogopogo. I'm excited to hear what it does, what its superpowers are, how it terrorizes the folk.
So, the Ogopogo. The Ogopogo is a monster that inhabits the Okanagan Lake in BC, Canada. Its original name from the native or indigenous people of the area, and I'm so sorry if I don't say this right, is Nahitaka. Nahitaka, I think is how I'm going to pronounce it. I know for a fact I'm saying it wrong.
Spell it for us.
Naitaka.
Naitaka.
AKA.
Naitaka.
Yeah.
Naitaka. Naitaka. Did I do that wrong?
I don't know.
I think I did that wrong. All right. Well,
yes. So I will try to refer to it more as the Ogopogo because I can at least say that. So, and I don't want to butcher another culture's pronunciation when I don't know how to say it. So
the Bard, on the other hand, has absolutely zero problems butchering other cultures' words. So I will refer to it as that.
As Ogopogo? Or
as Naitaka.
Yeah.
Nakitaka.
And also I'm dyslexic, so it does not help that I'm trying to pronounce something that is definitely not in English. So the descriptions of the Ogopogo do vary. Some say that it's a green snake-like body that's about 25 meters long. Some say it has a head of a horse. Others say that it's more reptile or it's more goat-like. So it doesn't have a very specific look to it, unlike the Mothman that we had last time, which was more standard from what I can recall.
Yes.
So, yes, and I mean, it's in water, so it's a lot harder to see. Now, I want to... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say you can hear it a lot better, though, because sound travels better in water.
Yes, if you're in the water.
Yes.
So I want to go a little more into the Okanagan Lake / the Okanagan Valley. So the Okanagan Lake is the largest of 5 interior connected fresh lakes in the Okanagan Valley. The lake and area get their name from the First Nation or Indigenous people who first inhabited the area. It stretches from 121.1 kilometers or 79 miles and has a maximum depth of 232.3 meters or 762 feet. But the average depth is about 75.9 meters, which is 249 feet. And to top it all off, it is only frozen 8 times in the last 110 years.
Wow.
Yeah, dude, I found
As far north as it is, I would have expected that it freezes a lot more often.
It's not that far north, actually. The Okanagan Valley is right next to the border. I used to live in the Okanagan Valley in a town called Penticton, which is right next to the Okanagan Lake. And you drove next to the lake through Summerland, Peachland, and Kelowna, and the lake was still to your right the whole time you drove north. So the border to the States was only an hour from where I lived, and you would go to, I can't remember the name of the town right now, but you would go through this one town, and as soon as you got to that town, which was only an hour from Penticton, you were in the States. And it is the only desert in Canada is right there. It doesn't...
I am learning all kinds of new things. I was unaware that there was deserts in Canada.
Yes, it's the only actual real desert in Canada that is not a snow desert. So, like, if you go really, really, really north into Canada and you go into the territories, those are also deserts. So, a desert, all it is it doesn't get much rain. So, like, Penticton wasn't in the desert, but you go further south and now you're in the desert. It was very close to everything.
Very interesting.
So, huge, really huge, like, very deep. So it'd be, and the theory of how this creature would have got in there to begin with is that at some point this lake was actually connected to the ocean, which is actually quite far away because, I mean, Vancouver's a 5-hour drive from Penticton to Vancouver. So, I mean, that's a good amount of distance. I mean, totally had looked that up. Kilometers and miles wise. And I just want to tell you in days and hours because that's how things are measured in Canada.
I mean, I get it. And, you know, what's it called? Anything over an hour's worth of drive to me it is really hard to justify as worth it because I'm not the kind of person that likes to travel for anything. So, you know, like five, I'm like, I don't know. I don't think I need to see the ocean that badly. I can see it on the internet.
Raven
additionally,
says aliens.
Raven, it was aliens.
It was aliens.
I believe it. I believe it. I see Philia just joined us. I wanted to say hi, Philia. And I wanted to address that PA and Laura are both giving me points for reasons. I'm unsure what these reasons are, but I guess I'm going to try to beat my high score. So, you know.
Whatever your high score is. You're not sure what that is.
I'm also not sure what my high score is, but I'm going for a game changer here. So let's do this.
So one thing I didn't know until I went to researching this, that there is even a song about the Ogopogo.
Like a popular song?
No,
Or
no, no.
like,
It's a very old song. It's from the 1920s. It's called the Ogopogo, the Funny Foxtrot. It's not good. I listened to it. It's not good. Don't bother listening to it. The recording I had was absolutely horrible, but I did not know there was a song about the Ogopogo.
people will write songs about anything.
And it was really only popular really in the area, of course, which makes sense. So,
Yeah, of course.
but yeah, no, so like I knew that the lake was huge when I lived there. I did not know about this creature named the Ogopogo until like a year and a half moving in there. And I'm seeing all these like, I'm like, why do they have Loch Ness around here? Like, this doesn't make sense. And then it was like, I found out it was like, no, because the lake has its own monster called the Ogopogo. I'm like, they have a what?
Oh, that's beautiful. You mean to tell me this entire time?
I've lived here and I have not gone monster hunting? What am I doing with my life? Apparently, you're
Out of curiosity, are you the kind of person that would go monster hunting? Like, if you knew that there was such a thing, or like that there was rumors of something existing in a particular place in your hometown, would you go looking for it?
Probably. I won't lie. When I lived in the Okanagan Valley, the price of living there is so high, and no one pays you good. I barely made ends meet. I didn't have spend money when I lived there, so I couldn't have really looked at the lake. I went swimming in it quite a few times though. Very nice, and it's really like in the summer. It's a really nice lake to swim in. They've got boarded off areas. Lots of boats are always on that lake. So. But again, it's a huge lake. Like, absolutely huge. But of course, it has nothing compared to the Great Lakes. Because you don't see it on a map like you do the Great Lakes. But it was absolutely huge. And there's lots of lakes around that area. Like, you would go places and you would just run into lakes, so.
Yeah, because, I mean, what do you call it? I know that in my hometown here in Texas, there's a haunted railroad, and it runs behind the old card shop where I would go to play Yu-Gi-Oh on Friday nights, and this thing is so legendary that businesses there actually have like reported paranormal activity, during the nighttime, Trains rarely go by there, but it's always like, hey, that's the railroad that's haunted. Things happen there, and it's a very common, like, test your courage type of situation for high school kids, since the high school is also nearby. But I thought it was just like we're teenagers, we're making stuff up. But whenever businesses there were like, oh no, stuff happens, I was like, oh, well. So I was just curious if you would be the type to be like, oh, there's a monster in the thing, I'm going to go hunt it.
I would at least like to go searching and see if you can find anything. Apparently Raven went and listened to the song. He's like, what are you talking about? This song is bopping. And he's like, okay, I lied. The song is garbage. Yeah, it's garbage. Mm-hmm. But yes, it's the recording. The recording is very scratchy and not a good recording for the one I found, so...
You mean to tell me that the Ogopogo funny song does not slap?
It does not slap.
Ah, man.
At least the recording does not slap.
Understood. Very well.
So,
anywho, continue.
Which is why I didn't bother like going and downloading so we can listen to it, because no, it wasn't worth it. It was just garbage. So, I can go a little more into some of the lore about it. So, according to Radford, co-writer of a book called Lake Monsters and Mysteries, the Ogopogo is more closely tied to its native myth than any other lake monster. In the book, there are more than 6 monsters, and that lake monsters, and that include the Loch Ness. So he went and did a few other places. I couldn't really read the book, but he did have the Ogopogo, the Okanagan Lake, in there, and that was one of the things he said in it.
Interesting.
So and again, I'm going to probably say this wrong. So the native people, the Skuapemik and the Salix people regard the Ogopogo as an evil supernatural entity with great power and ill intent.
Oh, holy cow! They regard it as evil.
The native name is translated into a few ways. It's either water demon, water god, or sacred creature of the water demon. So, also, but according to Pat Ralphin of the West Bank First Nations, who live in that area, the demonic view of the Ogopogo came about through miscommunications between the settlers and the First Nation people, which I would not say is wrong, because Canada, the name, is a misunderstanding as well. Canada means village, my small home. This is where I live, not the country, because they came here and asked what this place was called, and they said Canada, or not, it wouldn't exactly be Canada, it would have been probably something that sounded a little bit different, and that's how we got the name Canada from, is a misunderstanding.
Canada.
So,
what's this place called? It's Canada.
Or whatever, like I couldn't tell you exactly what the original name was. I didn't look that up, but I knew that was a thing, so I wouldn't be surprised. And it was, of course, English settlers that came to this area. So, to the Selix people, the Nahanahiko, as a sacred spirit of the lake that protects the valley. The spirit was said to dwell in the cave under Rattlesnake Island, or Monster Island, or adjacent to the Squally Point. So it's an island in the lake, not in the middle of the lake. It's actually off to the side, on the east bank of it, somewhere along there, and that's where they think the Ogopogo live.
So I just want to point this out right now. You guys have a rattlesnake and a monster island?
Well, it's called the same thing. So Rattlesnake Island, or Monster Island, is it also called on this lake. And no, I did not know this before I moved here, before I started doing research.
That is awesome.
But
you guys want to take a weekend trip to Rattlesnake Monster Island?
You would need a boat. Also, it's very small. It's a very little island. It's not very big. It's Peachland is all the way across the island, and so if Peachland is on the west bank and it's on the east bank, you got this huge, and I think it's there's another town that's on that side, but you can't go. Look, the area is complicated. I live there, and I can picture where it is, and there's a small little itty-bitty town that's there, and I think it's even more north than that town is, and there's no roads to get there, so.
I see Gamma has arrived. I want to say hi to Brother Gamma.
Hello, Gamma.
For a weekend trip, that sounds perfect, says Raven, and I would have to agree.
Truth be told, the Okanagan Valley, like Penticton stuff, great place for tourists, great place for vacation. You can go you can go down this river on inflatables, and it's a very slow river. You don't go into the Okanagan Lake with it, you go into the other lake, and it's very Skaha Lake. You go into Skaha Lake instead, and it's a very nice lake. I've never gone down it, again, same reasons. And it's meant for tourists. Like, it's a tourist trap. That's exactly what it is. Don't live there. That's all I'm saying.
I've noticed that Laura has mentioned the Dogman, the Michigan Dogman, which is another one that we might want to take note of for future reference. If you've never heard of it, it is something of a wild ride.
I haven't, like, I know of it, but I haven't done any research on it in any way.
But that's for future That's for
Yes.
future research. For
Hmm.
now, the Ogopogo. So you're telling me that he might live on this rattlesnake monster island?
Under in the caves.
There's
He's
caves underneath it. This place is
yes.
a treasure trove of great things.
Yes, I mean it's a huge lake. Of course, there's gonna be caves. Yes, apparently he lives in a cave, or it lives under the water. I always thought the Ogopogo was a female, to be honest. Probably because Loch
Really?
Ness is a female to me. So
It's a.
I don't know.
This is the first I'm hearing of both of these things.
Nessie. Nessie is a very feminine name.
Nessie was also the guy that used to stand around begging for change up by the freeway intersection near where I live.
Nessie, I'm pretty sure is supposed to be female.
His name was Nelson. We just called him Nessie.
Fair. Um.
Anyway, continue,
So
please.
there
I'm sorry.
is-
I don't mean to
this
keep you
is-
interrupting.
No, it's all good. That's what the whole thing's about. So, there are, and I don't have very many notes. I won't lie. We're getting pretty close to the end of what I have.
Okay.
So there is an oral native story of
Mhm.
of the Ogopogo. So there's a story about a visiting chief called Tim Basket. Don't ask. Native names are like that. Who rejected the choir. So, I forgot to tell you. So, yeah, I forgot to say this. So, in the lore, Ogopogo demands a live sacrifice for safely crossing the lake. So,
As you do.
so for hundreds of years, they would sacrifice small animals before they dare ever entering the water, which will lead into the story. So there was a visiting chief who rejected the required sacrifice, denied Ogopogo's existence. Upon entering the lake with his canoe and his family, Ogopogo whipped up the surface of the lake with his long tail. So I guess it is supposed to be male. I forgot about that. The canoe and its occupants were sucked to the bottom of the lake. Ogopogo was often described as using its tail to create fierce storms to drown its victims. So, make sure you have a rabbit.
I'm just gonna go out and say this. I have never heard of the Loch Ness Monster creating this level of devastation, and I respect him. I respect him for it.
Yeah, so he can control the lake water, and I mean, I don't see people that get on the lake now sacrificing small animals. So
See, when you said a live sacrifice, my mind immediately went to people,
So-
not animals. So that tells you where my mind is.
same. When I read it too, I was like, "What? They have to sacrifice small animals?" Oh, thank goodness.
Small animals. Oh, that's less bad. Okay.
Yes. I mean, every time you want to cross this giant river or this giant lake, you must sacrifice one of your children. You'd be out of children very quickly. Hello, Dark Horse.
Yeah. Dark Horse is here. He rides across the nation, the thoroughbred of sin.
I had a
He
feeling.
got the application that you just sent in. It needs evaluation, so let the games begin.
His message got retracted.
Oh no.
Look what you did, dude.
I apologize. Come back. I will stop with the bad horse references. I'm sorry, that movie was excellent.
It was a very good movie. I love Bad Horse. PA rather be people. Yeah, of course PA would. He would sacrifice people to the Ogopogo. Here you go.
Like, you know how whenever you go road trip, there's always that one person that's making the whole thing just absolutely unbearable for everyone. That's the guy that you give to Ogopogo.
But maybe Ogopogo doesn't want him. Should I think of
Well,
that?
I mean, I don't imagine that he's gonna keep him around. I kind of picture that he's gonna eat him.
You're probably not wrong, to be honest.
Yeah. just kind of like it's inevitable. If you spend enough time with people in an enclosed space such as a vehicle or a wagon, whatever the case might have been back in the day, somebody's eventually gonna grind somebody's gears the wrong way, and then that's we found our Ogopogo toll.
Pay this human one time to cross the Okanagan Lake. There actually is, just south of Penticton, there is a place called OK Falls that
I love it.
doesn't have a falls anymore because they put a dam up and it got rid of the falls. The falls are now underwater.
So the falls weren't great; they were just okay. Is what
Yeah.
I'm hearing you say.
Yeah.
They were okay falls.
They were just OK Falls. Which is why they're called OK Falls.
Right.
I always wondered why they were called the the OK Falls. OK Falls. And like, there's no falls. And it's like, yeah, because it's under that water right there. I'm like, oh, that's lame.
Well, that sounds to me like it's not okay.
It's a really little town, so it's okay.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't do that on purpose.
It's okay.
Got a really nice coffee shop there, actually. They make really good coffee.
Okay, so the coffee's great, but the falls are just okay.
The falls are just okay. And the gas station that just finished getting built got burnt down. That was fantastic. I bet you it's still staying there burnt to this day. Like, they hadn't even opened yet and got burned down.
That's
Again, I lived in the area, so I know a lot about this area. I only lived there for 4 years. I did not live there very long. My parents now live in the area. It's quite amusing. I lived there for 4 years. The month I moved, and a month later my parents moved there.
neat. Let's see here. Okay, so
Oh, that would be so funny. Get thrown in the lake, and the lake spirit spits you out because Ogopogo hates you. No, this human sacrifice is not good enough. Blech.
that would be great. Like, nope. I require my human sacrifices to meet certain standards.
And he is way too low.
Yeah. They have to be at least a 7 out of 10 in terms of people.
This is a 5. You gave me a 5.
It would be kind of great if, like, it's not even like I'm rejecting the toll outright, but depending on the quality of person you give me, that's how much of a head start you get before I start tormenting you.
Until I start wagging my tail.
Like, you're going to get rain no matter what you do, unless you submit to me a perfect 10 of a person. But, depending on what kind of person I get, that's how much rain you're going to get or how bad the storm's going to be.
I would like to speak to your manager, Ogopogo. I would do a story with that. Only if you write it for me, Laura. I will totally read more than one of your stories.
Yes, Laura has excellent stories.
This level of asshole is unacceptable. I will not take the worst of your group. I will take the best of your group. So all I have left is sightings.
Okay, let's hear about the sightings.
So, in Suzanne Allison in 1872, sighting was the first sighting that detailed the Ogopogo. She was a white settler and she was the first non-native person to live in the region, and establishing relations with the native people. So she was the first white person to ever see the Ogopogo, and that was in 1872. I mean, we are talking British Columbia, so that's quite far west, and also this area is very surrounded with mountains, so it would be a lot harder to get to. It's not like Vancouver that has the ocean next to it. So I could see that it took us a while to get there.
Right. I misheard you at first when you said she was the first white settler. I heard the first white seller. I was like, well, what was she selling?
The Ogopogo. That's how they got
She
it.
was selling. I see. It's like just some stock that went bad. So she's like, well, I gotta offload it somewhere.
I'm gonna give them, bring the Ogopogo to the native people. Bloop.
Okay, so she was the first. And that means that the natives were reporting it, but she was the first non-native person to talk about it. Then.
Well, because of course, for the indigenous people in the area, this was part of their mythology. There was a protective spirit or ill intent spirit protecting this lake. So they would of course have sightings way before this, but they I don't think these natives, because not all natives were like this, but this specific group didn't write. I know that the Squamish Nation are like that too. They never got written words. I'm originally from the Squamish area, so I know I know more about the Squamish natives. Not a ton either, but so their language was never a written language. It was always an oral language. And I'm thinking the people in the Okanagan Valley, the natives there were the same way, that their language was always oral. So they were probably passing down, the story and the sightings. And we know for a fact mythology changes over time, because we can see it with Greek mythology. It has changed. Even though it's written, we have different accounts of written mythology just with the Greek. So you could even say that maybe at some point the Ogopogo was an evil spirit and became a good spirit at some point too, where they were seen as these white settlers came in. It was something that was protecting them from the white settlers. There's a very possibility. So, but
very true.
I didn't find any of that in my research. That's just me theorizing at this point.
Right, and you're not wrong. As a matter of fact, in Greek mythology, Hades was never a bad dude. He was just he was a really chill guy who just did his job, whereas the rest of the gods were, more rambunctious and just kind of like all over the place. But Hades pretty much was just like, hey, you know what? Wake up, rule the underworld. Do it again the next day.
He's actually also one of the youngest gods.
Right. But he always gets a bad rap because he rules over the underworld, so like everyone's just like, well, clearly he's an evil guy. That would be like me saying that my internet company is evil because they throttle my internet whenever they feel like I'm having too much of a good time.
Oh, looks like Serafin the Bard is having too much fun. Throttle it!
What's this? Live streaming? Not today. Yeah. So.
And also with Hades, like he appeared after the Dark Ages, like in quotes, like so there was the ancient Greeks, and before them there was I can never remember the name, the Mycenaean, I think it was.
The Mycenaeans.
Yes. So he did not exist there. It was actually Poseidon who was the god of the underworld, and the Mycenaeans worshipped and were okay with the dead, the god of death. While when the ancient Greeks took over, the god of death was a bad thing. They didn't pray to it. They didn't worship as well. You didn't say Hades' name, and you definitely did not say Persephone's, because her name is actually Dreadful Persephone. She's actually older than Hades is in the like as in written. She's from the Mason, the one before the ancient Greeks. So yeah, I have problems with that one.
It.
And
Okay.
and they had a dark age, and then the ancient Greeks took over, and she is Poseidon's daughter in the original mythology, and then she never lost her her underworld persona. They just added Hades to her to give her a husband. So she would still keep it because she's supposed to be... She never lost her mother. Her mother's always been the same person. So she was also originally a horse. It's really weird. Greek mythology is really weird. But Hades...
I was about to say, I was like, wow, the Greeks... Oh my gosh.
Well, you see Demeter changed herself into a horse, and Poseidon chased after her as a horse, and they had a horse baby. Who I'm assuming at some point turned human because she's still a god, but she was originally a horse. Again,
I want to mention something real quick because the chat, PA has outlined the Ogopogo's terms of service.
The Ogopogo's term of service. I will not accept small animals or humans. I require one medium to large human that must meet, be supple and not chewy. I will also not accept spoiled meat. If you fail to meet these requirements, I will just eat you.
That sounds like a deal. Sounds like the Ogopogos is giving us a good bargain here.
Yeah, I mean, just gotta find that human. I mean, how often do we have to sacrifice this supple and not chewy human that is about medium to large size?
Okay.
I mean, we don't know how often.
Yeah, he's PA's basically just describing me, supple but not chewy.
Medium about large.
Yeah, not spoiled meat. So I think PA's just like setting it up so that next time we take a road trip to Canada, you know, he's got Ogopogo fare.
And Laura, sad part is he was the eldest brother. He should have been the king of the gods, but Zeus saved them all. Yes, Zeus did save them all, so therefore Zeus got to be the king. It's not like Zeus was a really good god, but I mean, Hades won the end because everyone will join his kingdom at some point because everyone dies.
At least once.
Yes, actually, in Greek mythology, you can get reincarnated 3 times.
Oh, that's cool, and also not something I knew.
I didn't either until very recently. So if you had a good life and you got into Elysium, I think is what they called it, their good afterlife.
Yes.
You could ask to be reincarnated, and if you did that 3 times and you had 3 good lives in a row, you went to the even better afterlife.
Oh, that is dope. I love the sound of that. that would be so cool. Like, all right, so it's like grinding to get the good ending in a video game.
Yep. Yeah, but I don't know how much you know about the fact that you've been reincarnated, and if you know that you need to be a good person to get this good afterlife. I only heard, like, that's all I ever heard, and I didn't hear any of the other stuff about it. So I was like, oh, I did.
You heard it here, everybody. According to 242, you don't know what playthrough of your life you're in, so be a good person. That way you still have a chance to get into good Elysium.
Really good Elysium. Like,
really good Elysium.
You're like, I can't remember what they called it, but it was better than Elysium, and Elysium is pretty badass.
Really good Elysium, where the Nevermore Collective is always playing.
Always. And we're always talking about cryptids.
We're always talking, and they have better cryptids.
Yeah.
Like Mega Mothman, Double Ogopogo,
Triple Dogman.
Triple Dogman.
The Hydra, because the Hydra would actually be there, because the Hydra's dead.
And what's the one? Shoot, Metal Bigfoot.
All his fur is actually metal.
Yeah. I need to see fan art of these cryptids.
The pureness of the meat will grant you an extended amount of time. The older they get, the less time you'll get. 5-star humans get you a month. 5-star humans get you a month. Oh, 8 stars get you 4 months, and if you manage to get a 10-star a year.
Huh. But, that continues to make sense to me. It's better than the other terms of service that I've accepted.
Blue-eyed white Ogopogo.
Blue eyes, white Ogopogo. Yes.
I mean, you did give him blue eyes, so I mean.
I gave him yellow eyes.
Yes, you did. I can hear you looking at it, like, what did I give him again?
No, because I was convinced. I was like, wait a minute, the entire drawing was blue. I wouldn't have given him blue eyes.
Yes, blue with more blue. That's how 42 draws.
I'm on a theme here.
Well, I mean, technically, everything's blue, but really, he's probably white, because, water makes everything look blue.
True. Yeah, no, I mean, that's what I was going for. It's like, he's underwater. I just realized I missed a really basic... I missed a really basic tenet of drawing underwater things, and that's air bubbles. I didn't draw any air bubbles.
It's fine, don't worry about it. He's holding his breath.
That's right.
Yeah, and well, you would think the Ogopogo would breathe underwater anyways. Do fish?
No, I mean,
water?
but yeah, but whenever you move underwater, there's air displacement, and it just kind of it creates little bubbles or little
You know what?
currents.
He's been there for a very long time. Okay, he hasn't moved in months. He got a 10-star. He's very happy. He's just floating in the water, happy as can be right now. Okay.
Gotcha. All right. Well, no worries.
Don't worry about the bubbles.
I'll get it next time. I'll draw Ogopogo standing next to whatever cryptid we're covering next time, just like they're homies out on the town for a good time.
We never even discussed which the next one's gonna be, because that's your choice.
Let's see. Well, Derringer was here last time asking Tsuchinoko, which if you've never heard of it, you've probably at least seen it.
Really?
Because there's a Pokemon designed right after it. So they basically just took the Legend of the Tsuchinoko and Pokemon fight it. So there's a Pokemon that's what he is, and on top of that, he makes these appearances from time to time in popular media just as an awkward-looking creature.
That would be an interesting one, because I didn't know about that, and it's been Pokemon. Pokefied.
It's been Pokemon. It's been Pokefied.
It's been Pokefied. So I do have a few other sightings.
Yes.
While driving on Highway 97 in 1968, Art Folden noticed something moving in the lake. He pulled off to the road and filmed what he claimed to be footage of the alleged creature, showing a large wake moving across the water. Art estimated that the Ogopogo was 300 yards offshore. A computer analyst of the footage concluded it was solid, three-dimensional object. Art noticed something large and lifelike in the distance out, and claimed the water out on the calm water, and pulled out his home movie camera to capture the object. Now, in 2005, investigation concluded by Benjamin Radford, which is not, I don't know if that's the same Radford, actually. I forgot to double check. I think it might be, actually. It's the same Radford, I think. And with Joe Nickel and John Kirk for the National Geographic Channel TV show Is It Real, utilize surveilling boats to find the actual distance of the alleged creature from the shore. They found that it must have been closer to the shore than originally thought, resulting in a reduction of the actual size and speed. They concluded that it was likely a real animal, but its size has been greatly overestimated, and that it was probably a waterfowl an otter or beaver too far away to be identified.
Huh.
I'm not sure about the beaver thing. I don't remember seeing any beavers around there, so I don't know about the beaver part.
Okay, so you're just gonna so you're discrediting what they're saying because hey, you know what? I lived here. You don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I don't remember seeing any beavers.
Right?
I never remember seeing any beavers. I don't remember seeing any otters ever. And I drove that lake many times. I remember seeing birds, lots of birds. But I'm like, but the beaver thing, I'm like, I don't remember seeing any beavers ever around the area. But I could just miss those. But I don't remember seeing otters. Otters, to my knowledge, only live in the ocean. I could be wrong about that, though.
I'm pretty sure there's lake otters.
I should have looked into that.
Also, what was it? I thought you had mentioned that these lakes used to be part of the ocean.
That's the theory that they used to be part of the ocean.
It's a theory. Gotcha.
Yeah, it's
okay.
it's not part of the ocean anymore in any way, shape, or form. That's a theory someone had, but I also read that this lake was formed from glacier water originally too. So, and
Okay.
we know, like, a lot of theories for the lake monsters are that they were originally dinosaurs that are still around. Not all dinosaurs lived in the ocean. Some would have lived in lakes. So.
Okay.
Never mind. Found.
There must have been ocean dinosaurs though, right?
Oh yes, there was definitely ocean dinosaurs, but I know about ocean dinosaurs. I don't know anything about lake dinosaurs.
Definitely something to look into, I imagine. So when was the footage taken? You said it was in the 70s?
60s. 1968.
Uh-huh.
So it would have been not like he used a home camera, and definitely back then they weren't very good. I didn't find any footage. But someone else was just looking at it, so I thought I'd just give you the full account and everything that, like, investigators did research it. So it was determined that it was actually closer than he thought, but I don't know. When I lived there, the lake was actually very, like, we had lost a lot of water because of a drought in the area, which I told you how big the lake is. It takes a lot to make that water go down. And it has been the last little while. They're not getting as much rain as they used to. So
I want to go ahead and shout out Raven. He has found the Pokemon that is based off Tsuchinoko. It is Dunsparce.
That sounds familiar.
Dunsparce is based on Tsuchinoko. Yes, Raven, you found it.
Must look real quick. Oh, done. 42 must find things.
42 must find this Dunsparce you speak of.
Well, I know the Pokemon. I just don't know, like... Oh! Really? There's a creature based off of that?
Yes.
Or a cryptid, sorry?
Yeah, there is a cryptid that has been turned into a Pokemon. Yep.
He's so cute. I just want to grab him and hug him.
Yeah. For some reason, it's supposed to be, and we're like gonna give spoilers here for the next episode, but it's supposed to be mega poisonous. But the thing is, it's so dopey that it's never actually like harmed a human very fatally. So people are just like, I love the Tsuchinoko. It's adorable, and it's like it can kill you, and it's like, but I love it. So
I love it, but it can kill you. But I love it.
It's like a platypus, because platypi have, like, the male platypi at least have like that venomous spur on their toes, and platypuses in general, it's like, hey, they're adorable. There's no way that this cinnamon roll could hurt me.
Oh god, platypus! It's like, explain this. I swear that's what platypus are.
Yeah, basically, it's like, what's funny is people thought that platypuses were made up until somebody actually saw one.
Yeah, well, I mean, seriously, you've seen a platypus. They look made up.
They do. I kind of assumed that it was just like, some, what do you call the scientists that study animals? They have a specific name. Zoologists?
Yes.
Yes. I would have thought that it was like a fan fiction written by a zoologist.
Yeah, it's not, and especially with the laying of the eggs. It's a mammal that lays eggs.
This is a weird animal, is all I'm trying to say, and I
Very
love it.
weird. Very weird.
Yeah. But going back to the footage captured on the camera of the Ogopogo, I don't think that this is just me speaking. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not an expert, but I think that if footage was taken on a camera that was from that long ago, our modern ways of measuring or trying to prove what that camera was looking at, it shouldn't jive 100%. It's like trying to augment the what do you call it, resolution of an image that was taken on a 1900s camera. All you're gonna get is pixels, you know?
Oh my god, yeah. Like,
So,
I didn't watch the episode or any of that jazz. So I'm not 100% sure, like what the footage looked like. I mean, yes, it could have been an animal, but at the same time, it was 1968. They didn't get to investigating until 2005. That's a very
mhm.
long time. The lake could change significantly between those times.
Right.
So, like, I know for a fact, like the ocean, like the lake, has now moved down. Like it's receded a little bit. So who's to say that the lake is even at the same? Like it hasn't receded. It wasn't receding more than 2, right? So
Right. And I don't want to discredit scientists by any means. I'm sure that there's a lot of things that they take into account just so that, their measurements are off base. But I just find it really hard for us to say, like, yeah, we're analyzing footage back then using modern technology, and we're certain that, it couldn't have been as big as he was saying,
or it wasn't as far as he was saying. Was the biggest
or it
thing.
wasn't as far.
Yeah, because that was
Right.
the biggest thing.
So,
He thought it was 300 yards offshore, and they said it was. They came to the conclusion that was actually much closer than he was thinking,
mhm.
and he just.
Yeah, so it just feels odd to me. I'm like, no, I don't know. Like I'm not sold. I'm not sold on their explanation or on their analysis.
No, it. And again, I didn't watch the show, so I don't know what evidence they were using and stuff like that too. And they probably did show the footage and all that jazz with it, because a lot of those times when they do stuff like that, they do. Um, so there's another one in the 1980s. A local tourism agency offered a cash reward for proven sighting of the beast. Greenpeace announced that the beast must be filmed and not captured. The Ogopogo was listed as an endangered species. In 1980, around 50 tourists watched an alleged Ogopogo for about 45 minutes off the beach of Kelowna. Larry Tal, a tourist from Vancouver, shot some 8mm film, but by just for 10 seconds. Some skeptics have suggested that it was only a pair of otters. Again, back to the otters thing. Uh, in
What kind
19
of otters do they have in Canada? Good lord.
well, I don't remember seeing any otters ever when I lived there. Like that's what's confusing me.
Like, have you guys seen an otter? Like, the creatures we're trying to compare here are vastly different.
Apparently, apparently there are otters in
There
the
are.
lake.
Okay, so all right.
I'm
Confirmed, everybody.
I
Otters
just-
exist in Canada lakes.
Well, I just didn't know they were in the Okanagan Lake, right? And I mean, like I'm looking at pictures of them. They're not very big. They're very tiny creatures. It wouldn't take much for them to go out in the ocean and never see them. Oh my god, there was one that was. Oh, sorry. There's one that's got like this little baby thing in its hand because it was a rescue. It was so cute.
PA dropping a new cryptid in the chat. He calls them super otters.
We do have river otters in the Okanagan, apparently. I had never, ever, ever, ever seen one. So super otters.
Super otters.
John Kurt reportedly says an animal which was 10.7 to 12.2 meters, 35 to 40 feet long, and consisted of 5 sleek jet black humps with a lashing tail. He believed it to be traveling about 40 kilometers, 25 miles per hour.
Okay.
So I thought I should finish what I was reading you. Let's not lie, guys. This is not all off the top of my head. I have notes. If I didn't have notes, there would be no way I'd remember all the information. I am terrible at telling stories. I'm a narrator.
Stories, but that's what you do on YouTube.
Yes, but I read them to you. I do not have to retain the information. This is not an oral an oral telling anymore. We have invented the written word, and I can somehow read it. It's a gosh darn miracle.
You've invented the written word? We must keep it away from the serfs, lest they gain knowledge and uprise.
They did. They have. Frank wants a $5 raise per hour. Sorry.
Hold on. Do you pay serfs? I kind of... You
no,
do. Like, you must.
Kind of. So serfs were tied to their lands, and they had to live there. So they got to eat, like, they could eat things off their land and all that jazz. But no, they didn't actually get paid. So when they, in quotes, freed the serfs, they then had to pay back the money they owed the landowners for all the land owning or something. It was stupid. They basically just changed the one slavery to another slavery.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a raw deal right there.
Yeah, it was pretty messed up.
That's a bad deal. I'm like, I gained nothing from this transaction.
That's pretty much what happened. These humps, hump, that lovely lovely otter hump.
I know.
BA.
I was prepping myself. I'm like, I'm about to have to sing that, aren't I?
You can go right ahead. You'll sing it better than I will.
All right. Here we go. Let me see. Let me get into the mindset here. Do my best Black Eyed Peas impression. Stop that hump! That lovely otter hump!
Oh God! Worth it. Worth it.
There was a moment of silence there. I was like, did the mic cut out again?
It did for like a brief second, but we got the lovely otter hump out of you, and that was perfect.
Oh God. According to Laura, it is indentured servitude.
Yeah, that's what it became.
Yeah.
They were originally serfs, and then they got indentured servant. And I'm sorry, I hit my mic in case you heard it. Sorry, guys, you're a little behind. He has already done it.
Oh no.
Besto thing ever. Besto. Sorry, I've been watching way too much JoJo. Anyway, so I've got a few more. So on July 24th, 1992, someone videotaped, I don't have a name, something or somethings that were traveling just below the surface of the water at a fairly good speed, estimated to be 8 kilometers, 5 miles per hour. A boat towing a water skier suddenly appeared in frame, and the skier falls into the water near the object. Within several minutes, Damara made 2 other videotapes, each showing what appeared to be multiple animals in the water. Benjamin Radford suggested, again back to that guy again, suggested the creature was only several otters. In 2005, yeah, he seems to really like his otters.
I can't with Ben right now, man. Ben Rad is killing me with this.
In 2005, FBI video specialist Grant Fredericks concluded the object was very consistent with debris from fallen trees in the water. Nothing that is very, noting that it is very slowly bobbing up and down. He also pointed out that the alleged creature did not react to the water sphere, and the sphere did not seem alarmed. So, yeah, so... Otter surprise! Okay, so apparently they really like otters for whatever reason. I have never seen an otter on the goddamn lake. And I drove that bitch a lot. Otters do not go on the lake very much. Anyways, super otter. So they really like the otters.
Yeah, the otter seems to be like, I kind of have to wonder if this guy isn't just like a super fan of otters, and you know, it's like, oh, are you sure you saw a monster? Are you sure you didn't see otters?
Yeah, you sure it was not a group of otters? But yeah, so a skier
you have
did.
to wonder, like,
So the skier,
his colleagues are like, Ben, stop.
Stop!
Okay.
It's not the otters.
It's not otters, Ben.
It's not otters. But yeah, the skier didn't react, but that doesn't mean the skier was anywhere near what was happening. I, again, didn't see any of these videos. I saw some other videos of some different things, but, sorry. Apparently I'm tired, but I never had my tea today. Actually, I've only drank water today. The abomination that is me.
Water's, I don't know, like if water's all you drink, you're some kind of fiend. I don't even know.
Come to find out, Ben is just 3 otters in a man's suit.
Oh man, that would be awesome.
That's why he's seen otters everywhere.
Oh man, hold it. I have to know. Wait, hold on just a second. Let's see. Huh, I came looking for something and found something completely different, and now I'm terrified. So I wanted to know what otters eat. And it says here that they eat invertebrates, but they have also been known to eat birds, which is a little scary. It's like, how do they? Okay, but I was just gonna throw it out there that, you know, like, his growing ever suspicious that Ben is 3 otters in a trench coat. It's like, hey, Ben, we're ordering out. We were thinking, you know, either pizza or invertebrates. Just throwing that out there just to see if he sweats it, you know, like, yeah, pizza is the right answer for what you're looking for. And it's like, okay, well, you know, we could also order invertebrates if that's something you'd like,
If that's
Ben.
your cup of tea, Ben. If that is your real name.
PA says that Ben is just hotter for the otter. I can't. He's hot for the ot. I can't. Oh Lord. But yeah, I don't know, man. Ben's not striking me up as a guy who's out here trying to find answers to life's questions.
Well,
he just seems like
I just did a quick look up. He's a skeptic. That's
okay.
yeah. He
Yeah, all right,
is the one that wrote Lake Monsters. So yes, I was right that he is the author of Lake Monsters and Mysteries, investigating the world's most elusive creatures. Benjamin Bradford and Joe Nickel.
Kat says, "Please stop giving me ideas."
Why?
Stop giving me story ideas.
but you could just send them to me and I'll narrate them for you. I can
Yeah,
take
really.
care of it for you. And I'm pretty sure you can give like 1 or 2 to Bard. It'd be fine.
I want to know about Ben the Otter and how he managed to get into.
And how he became a skeptic and now avoids
How he
everything
became a
being otters.
Oh my gosh. I want to know how he got into this scientific field. Or how they got into the scientific field if it's 3 otters.
It's 3 otters, so it's they.
Do the otters have a hive mind? You know, is there like a master otter and then the others?
Of course, the one on top is the master one. And the rest talk to him through
Gotcha,
the
gotcha.
mind. Duh. That's exactly how that works. So in 2001 or 2011, a cell phone video captured 2 dark shapes in the water. Explanation is that the video shows 2 logs. Radford analyzed the video for Discovery News and concluded that the video quality is poor and the camera is shaky, but a closer look at 30-second video reveals that instead of one long object, there are actually 2 shorter ones, and they seem to be floating next to each other at a slight different angle. There are no humps, no heads, no form, only 2 long, darkish, more or less straight forms that appear to be a few dozen feet long. In short, they look like a lot like floating logs, which would not surprise me since the Okanagan Lake has tens of thousands of logs harvested by the timber industry floating just under the lake's surface.
I love how Ben goes from, being super scientific about it, like, okay, so we saw this video from 1963 and we analyzed it with modern techniques to determine that it was just a duck. And this one, he's like, your camera quality is crap and this video is stupid.
Well, I mean, we went from 2005 to 2011. His quality of work just went way down in those years. PA,
that is
you
terrible.
know perfectly well I will read your stories. It's just you read all your stories now. Your lovely Lonnie there is no lovely otter humps. Gasp. Yeah,
Gasp.
I know, it's one of the few times he did say it was an otter. So.
Oh, really? That is true. This is like the first time where he's like, yeah, this isn't an otter, your camera's just stupid.
Your camera's just shite.
Okay. It's that period where, they were getting too close for comfort, so he had to start throwing different things at the wall just to kind of throw suspicion off of him.
Well, this one is from 2018. There were reportedly 3 sightings, one of which was described as a giant snake that was about 15 meters or 49 feet long. So there is, I'm just going to read you everything I've got here. So on September 12th, David something, I'm not reading that last name, his brother Keith and their family were enjoying a picnic on the lake, many beaches, one of the many beaches, there's tons of beaches, and saw something that left them awestruck. We're sitting on the beach on a sunny day. You don't expect to see a dinosaur come out of the water, said David. To Global News. I saw this black form come from the water, cylindrical, and then roll. Bill, another guy with a different last name I'm not going to pronounce, who lives in the nearby city of Kelowna and runs a website dedicated to the legend of the Ogopogo, said he had been left stunned by the clusters of sightings. There haven't been a lot of Ogopogo sightings lately, which is a problem, he said. Then all of a sudden you have 3 in 3 weeks. Totally amazing. So in 2018 there was 3 sightings and I couldn't find them all. So
Okay.
I couldn't track down his website very well. And now that I look at it, I think if I had clicked this I would have found his website. Now that I'm an idiot.
Oh, the link was here all along. I apologize.
I apologize. Which I will just do this. I'm gonna just add it to our list of links for information. There. I should have totally looked at this site now that I think about it, but I missed it. I'm sorry, I failed you. You can y'all can fire me later, okay?
But wait, we can't fire you. There's Canada encrypteds. You're the authority.
This is fair. So apparently that was the last sighting there has been on this site. Was the September 12th, 2018. He doesn't have any other real sightings. So there are other sightings, but yeah. This website's not as good as I was hoping it was going to be. Alright.
So I'm getting a lot of I got notifications over Discord. Raven's telling me, "Oh, there's a Yu-Gi-Oh card about Tsuchinoko too," and I'm like, "Yes." Like,
of course.
I've actually, I was telling you about it the other day that the danger archetype is composed entirely of cryptids. So yeah, these guys get around. Yeah. Ogopogo is one of them too.
Yes, I know. You told me about that. I was like, what?
Yeah, so there you go. And Canada's own native cryptid. Which, come to think about it, is Bigfoot a Canadian cryptid too?
It's definitely been, like, there's definitely been sightings here, I'm really sure.
Okay.
There's also the Sasquatch, which is basically Bigfoot as well.
The Sasquatch, also known as the Janoskwa. Okay, so that was the last sighting. When was the last sighting you said? It was recent?
September 12th, 2018.
2018 is what I thought you said. That is also the last sighting of Mothman. Just wanted to throw that out there.
That's weird, actually.
That means that they're gathering their forces so that they can bring upon us the cryptid apocalypse.
I am now looking at sightings of Bigfoot, and there's a bunch in Canada as well, and in Calgary. Oh, there is sure a lot of sightings. Oh my god, mostly in the States. Like, States is like tons. Canada's like just a little, just a sprinkle.
Like, yeah, Bigfoot, we know of him.
Bigfoot, he just lives up here, dude. We don't want to tell you about him. His house is like right there. Just let him be.
Right. Let's see. So Kat says that Bigfoot started in America, and I think that's 100% absolutely right. But yeah, I was just curious because I feel like he's been around more than that. Like, you know, I honestly felt like, you know, they've seen him elsewhere. It's not just an American. As a matter of fact, a lot of cultures around the world have different ape humanoids that fall into the same Sasquatch category, more or less. Like the Yeti, for example, in the Himalayas.
Yes, the Yeti is just a white Bigfoot.
Just a white Bigfoot that sells a really great brand of drink holders.
And also a really nice mic.
Also a really nice mic, indeed.
We have a Yeti in my house, I just don't use it. I'm not the one that uses it.
I don't know, I'm looking at my Yeti right now, and for some reason the drinkware is what came to mind, not the microphone.
As I stare at the Yeti before me, they make really good drinkware. Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
According to Laura, Wendigos would be the big problem in Canada.
I'm such a cryptid nerd. I'll remember that.
Yeah, we're gonna have to consult Laura for our research next time.
Yeah, because I totally like missed stuff this time. Like the big website that would have helped me.
Well, so you're aware PA did fire you? He mentioned it a little while ago. I don't know if the
Yeah,
chat.
I saw that.
No, okay. Well, just so you know, you could you know, like you're gonna have to leave your cryptid ID pass with HR. But yeah, so I don't know. 2018 though is so recent that it feels weird that these would be like still being cited in modern times. Then again, you know, I kind of picture like 2002, like it was 90 years ago. What is happening here?
The world is ending.
No what?
What's happening?
The world is
ending. That's always my answer.
Yeah. But so what are your theories? Is it a dinosaur? Is it was it dropped there by aliens? How plausible do you believe that Ogopogo is as far as a as a cryptid goes?
See, the problem is the lake is huge, but the area is very populated and very like traveled with boats. So,
Okay.
especially since there hasn't been that many sightings, it does lean on the improbable side to me. But at the same time, it's a huge lake, absolutely huge. So, there could be something in that lake that we don't know of, and it's so deep, right? So it's hard. I don't like to ever like say no, it can't be, absolutely no, but I would put that from a scale of 1 to 10. I'd put it at a 5 or a 6. Like not superly probable, but not like totally out of the realm of reality.
Because you know what always does it for me is that it's one thing if the indigenous tribes saw it and reported it because you know it's part of their mythology. But whenever you have settlers seeing it as well, to me now it falls into a different category. Now this is like, okay, well, now we have outsiders seeing it as well. Ergo, we have to treat it with a little more credibility.
Well, and I mean, it's hard to see things on water. Like, logs look weird when they're in the water, the way they move and bog, and creatures do look weird as well. So yes, I could see there being sightings and those actually being what they are, but at the same time, water acts weird. Water's really a weird element, really. Like, if you think about it, like, water is a liquid, but when it's frozen, it's less dense than when it's a liquid, and so weird things happen with it.
Is that not the case for other elements? Like,
No.
so for example, that there's multiple elements that can exist. Well, I mean, technically all elements can exist in all 3 states of matter.
But only water, when it's in its solid state, floats on itself, while everything else is heavier when it's in its solid state. Water is a very weird element. Yeah, because everything gets closer together. Everything gets closer together. Yeah, water is just a weird element. I always remember that as it becomes from liquid to solid, it's heavier. And
unless you're water.
Unless you're water. I'm really sure that's how it works. Let me double check. I could be talking out of my butt. Because I remember that being a weird thing about water.
Let's see. PA says something about a joke that he said, and I don't know which one he's talking about. What what's the question asked by the Wendigos? It's when to go. Ah, yes. It is a good
Yeah,
one. Excellent pun. You
solid would be a bit heavier. Water ice is an exception. Yeah.
so weird.
Yeah. So
Physics, man. How does it work?
water just acts weird. So we get like ripples and stuff because something has shifted underneath it. We get tsunamis because they've had an earthquake under the ground, under the water. So therefore, the ripple of the water got shifted down, and now it's got to all come back up, and that causes tsunamis.
Right.
Water's weird, is what I'm trying to get
So,
at.
right, and the whole idea here being like you can't ever really 100% trust something that you see in water because water has a tendency to be deceitful
Yes.
in the way that it presents things.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, yes, but also I don't know. Like there's a difference to me, like something that you would see in the water versus something that you would see on the surface, which is where most of the Ogopogo sightings would be.
Yes.
Then again, water is reflective. Maybe, depending on the light, there could be instances of distortion or, just tricks of the light based on its reflective properties that you see something on there, but then the light makes it look different from what it actually is. Huh. So, yeah, I don't know. Like there's a whole mess of stuff to consider whenever you're talking about something that you're seeing in water, I guess. Also, I mean, I don't know how polluted the lake is. I've never been, but maybe you can attest to this. But
Not very
is
polluted.
it so? It's clear water in that case.
Yeah.
It's relatively clear.
Yeah. Let me find. Like it's not polluted. It's actually a very pretty lake. So let me just show you this one here.
Okay.
Save images. So I'll put it on the stream so everyone else can see it too.
Let's look at this lake together, everyone.
Sorry, it's not like easy to add things to the stream.
Okay, understood. I was beginning to think that my eyes just weren't working.
No, I had to go find it, and then I had to go add it, so... I hate when things don't save where I expect them to save.
Isn't that just like the blight of somebody who works in multiple folders?
And have multiple drives.
Yes.
Where did it save? Oh, okay, I see what happened. So that's the lake. I'm not 100% sure which town this is. So you can see, like, lots of mountains, and the lake is, like, blue as blue can be.
Okay, I'm still not seeing it.
Hold on, it takes a little bit of time to get on there.
Oh, okay. Oh, holy cow. That is massive, too.
Oh yeah, that's only part of it. That's not the whole lake.
Jones, okay, so if anything, that just adds more credibility to me because now we have plenty of places where this thing can live and be completely out of sight. Additionally, there's underwater caves that you mentioned.
Yeah, that's what that it was a cave, that it was its home.
Right. So I don't know. Like, if anything, seeing the lake makes it more plausible to me.
It's a very pretty lake. Like,
It,
I won't
yeah.
lie. I really liked living at that lake. I'm trying to find a whole picture of the lake. Hold on, so you guys can actually physically see how big this lake is. It's absolutely massive. Hold on, I'm just gonna look for...
Okay.
Here we go. Yeah, so... I'm just gonna take a screenshot of it.
Okie doke.
And then I'll just put it on here. You're gonna see other stuff, but that's fine. Like, I didn't realize how big this lake was until I did the research on this, and I was like, oh my goodness.
That is a lot of lake.
It's a lot of lake, actually. Like,
It's a lot of lake. I'm waiting for it to load.
yes, it's now there. I'm just putting it over top of the other, or no, I'm not gonna do that. We're gonna do this. I can't cover that up. This can get smaller. Hold on. So we'll do the lovely blue lake there, and we'll do this. So all that water that you can see, very, very top, all the way to the bottom is the lake. I'm not kidding you.
Yeah, that is massive.
It is a huge lake. Very blue, very pretty.
Very, very well built for the sake of hiding a cryptid.
Yeah, so it goes all the way. So Penticton is the very end, the very south of it, and it goes all the way, like even Vernon that you can see there. There's still more lake to see. So, and what? I'm also getting very upset with myself. Naramata. That's it. Naramata. That's the one that's on the other side that no one lives on.
That's the one where nobody lives.
It's a really small town. Like, super tiny. Doesn't even have a gas station tiny.
Oh, wow.
There is some kind of road out, but it's a dirt road, and it doesn't even connect to anything. I'm looking. It does go to a lake, though. Yeah, and then, so, Penticton's the very bottom, and the Okanagan Lake is in Skaha Lake, which is the one south of Penticton. Which has tinkleberries. I miss tinkleberries. They're so good. They're the best ice cream ever.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
For a second there, I thought that you had like a nickname for the Ogopogo. You're like, I miss Tinkleberries. I was like, is that what you call him?
Yes, I miss my tinkleberries. So yeah, huge lake. Definitely a chance. Like that's why. Like I could never say with 100% certainty that this can't be a thing. That is, from Penticton to Kelowna is an hour drive, and then from Kelowna to Vernon is another hour drive. So you're looking, if you were able to drive the whole caboodle, 2 hours to drive from the farthest south up to the northest part of it, almost. That is a big lake.
I honestly think that this is more plausible the more I learn about how big this lake is.
Oh, it's huge, and it's so pretty. It's
because
I miss that lake. I miss that lake.
If there was ever a place for something to hide,
it's the Okanagan Lake.
If ever there was a place for something to hide, that's the place to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I could tell you a few places that you could hide in that area very easily, and the cops would never find you.
The way that you said that with just such certainty and no hesitation makes me feel like there's a story attached to this.
There's no story attached to it. I'm just looking at it going, you could easily just go to Naramata, go a little north, and no one would ever find you.
Stay on 242's good side. I got you. No,
yeah,
perfect.
Yeah, no, perfect. I also live near Banff, which is a provincial park. So you're like a state park. So Yeah, no one will ever find you if you piss me off. I mean, what?
What? I said no. I said nothing. It was all said in jest.
Yes, I live an hour and a half from Banff, like super close. Mountains. Yeah, no. Welcome to Canada. If we want to, we can make you disappear forever.
I believe it. Canada's mostly woodlands and empty space, though, isn't it? Like with the exception of the cities and the big settlements.
Yeah, pretty much. Like it's mostly forest because there's just so much land mass. Like, to get from where I live to the Okanagan, you're looking 7 hours drive.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I was to go meet any of the people that live in Ontario, you're looking at a 36-hour drive.
Yeah, no thanks. I think I'll stay home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then the Great Lakes, which are bigger, have a very good chance of having something in them too, because they're so huge. Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, Lake Michigan, Superior.
That's where the secret island of Demon Reach is.
Shh! Don't.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. We're not supposed to talk about Demon Reach. Never mind.
Yeah. Don't
disregard.
Because Chicago's right here, so it would be on Lake Michigan. Yeah, definitely, and it's not that far. So somewhere on there is a lake that no human can see because someone doesn't let us see anything.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, we don't talk about it.
No.
Reaper's Horror has joined us.
Welcome, Reaper.
Welcome, Reaper.
I am showing pictures of how big this gosh darn lake is that the Ogopogo lives in.
Yes, because the Ogopogo has so much space to hide in that I am having a hard time even... Okay, so that's a lot of space to hide in for one creature, right? It kind of makes me wonder, how did anybody see it in the first place? Because they would have to be at just the right place at just the right time, and I guess it's not improbable that they would run into it eventually, but it just seems, I don't know, it seems really out there that one creature, unless there's multiple, do you imagine that it's possible that there might be multiple Ogopogo?
It's very possible, because that's the kind of the option that they're thinking about the Loch Ness too, is that it is multiple creatures as well.
I can see that. And it's not like they're at a loss for space to exist in. So, I don't know, like, I think Ogopogo is super plausible. And I'm not buying the what do you call it, the one expert who is really 3 otters in a man suit. I'm not buying his attempted debunking of the existence of this creature.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I think it's very likely to be a very real thing. Unless it's possible that it's a flock of otters.
A flock of otters, yes.
According to Laura, there is a guy who has been struck by lightning 7 times in his life, and I have found 8 4-leaf clovers. So, point taken. I mean, the impossibility of something doesn't necessarily mean, or what, the improbability of something doesn't necessarily mean that it is impossible. So, definitely something to keep in mind. I mean, after all, it is improbable that I'll win the lottery, but I keep trying.
Yeah, I just bought a lottery ticket.
Sooner or later. Sooner or later. So, I mean, yeah, I guess it is possible that, it would exist and that there is enough chance for humans to run into it, even if by accident, just from living in proximity of it for as long as they have. As with Loch Ness, there could be a cavern in the crust layer that goes much deeper underwater, says Reaper's Horror. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. As a matter of fact, we had mentioned earlier that there is a cavern
Yeah,
where
under Rattlesnake Lake or Rattlesnake
under
Island or Monster
under
Island.
Rattlesnake Island. Yes. So, yeah, I mean, there's a whole lot of different places where the Ogopogo could be hiding. So, I guess another thing is, do you imagine that, putting aside all speculation of whether or not it's real, like presuming that it is, do you imagine that there's what do you call it, that it is the same type of thing that the Loch Ness monster is, or do you imagine that they're two different things altogether?
Um, they have very well. See, the problem is I don't know exactly what Nessie looks like. I think she's closer to what you've drawn here. While the descriptions I got were different.
Yeah.
They were of a snake-like creature. Helps if I'm in the right thing. I'm not in the right thing. But it was more of a snake creature than
Than a dinosaur.
yeah, it was green snake-like body or a head like a horse or a reptile or a goat. While Nessie definitely has more of a dinosaur look to her. So, it's hard to say if they're the same creature, and for the distance, most likely not. They
Right.
are quite far from each other. Nessie lives in the United Kingdom, I think Scotland, if I remember correctly, and of course this is in British Columbia. That's quite a difference, and two different oceans on top of that, even if they were from the ocean originally. Nessie lives in would have been from the Atlantic, while the Ogopogo would have been from the Pacific. So it definitely would have been two different creatures.
Okay.
We know for a fact there are things in the ocean that we haven't seen yet. So the chances of there being stuff in lakes that we haven't seen yet. Actually, we found stuff in lakes that we haven't seen before anywhere else.
Really? Like what?
They're in the desert, in the Nevada desert. There is this lake under the desert that has a certain kind of fish in it that is nowhere else in the world.
Now that's interesting. I had no idea about that.
Yeah, it's a protective wildlife preserve there. You can go and see the lake, but you're not allowed anywhere near it. You're not allowed to throw trash in it, nothing.
That's understandable. I mean, preserve especially since it's not been seen. But here's the thing. It's really hard to, uh, how would I put this? It's really hard to feel like, okay, so I understand that their efforts are towards protecting and preserving this particular species since it's not been seen anywhere else. But just because it hasn't been seen anywhere else doesn't mean that it doesn't exist anywhere else. So, like, I don't know, I guess where I'm going with this is, like, I understand their efforts to like, wow, this is a really unique species. But I wonder just, how much more prevalent it is elsewhere, and we just haven't seen it, just as with this one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't. Yeah, it's just a very good. There's a chance that it's just something we've never seen. There is a chance that it's just the lake having stuff shift under it and weird stuff coming up. It could be logs, it can be creatures, but it's also not completely out of the realm of possibility that it isn't something we haven't seen before, because we know we have found other things that we have not seen before. We found
Precisely.
dinosaur old creatures that we thought were long dead.
That's true.
We found giant squids that we thought were myths, and we know for a fact are real.
That's very true. And for the sake of just throwing some arguments out there, there are things that have existed for since dinosaur times that we just take as everyday creatures. The common crocodiles, for example. Crocodiles and alligators haven't changed evolutionarily almost any since they first came on the scene, and that was long times ago. I forget what period they came into existence at, but
They were around before the dinosaurs were.
yeah. They've been around.
They're not dinosaurs, but they are as old as dinosaurs. They lived through the extinction.
Which is awesome.
And I mean, the dinosaurs that did live became birds. That's what our birds are. Our birds are dinosaurs. Legit. They're the ancestors of the dinosaurs. Mammals were around during the dinosaurs, but we weren't able to really thrive until after the dinosaurs went extinct because they were so big. And then because we were so small, we were able to live off of less food as just not a species, but as a whole, and that made it so that we could thrive when they died off. And so all the small dinosaurs lived, but all the big ones like the T-Rex, and they were already starting to die off before the meteor hit. It was just the nail in their coffin. They were already starting to go by this point, because I mean they had been around for millennia by this point. Like there's a lot of different periods for dinosaurs. Dinosaurs as a whole, if they are an hour, humans being around are like 2 seconds or something. We've only been on this planet for a speck of time compared to the dinosaurs. And they weren't smart. Yep. They were dumb.
True.
Because they didn't need to be smart. To be a predator, you only need to be a little bit smarter than your prey. So if your prey is very dumb, you don't have to be smart. So
very true.
But as time went on, we became smarter, so therefore the predators for us became smarter, and then at some point we became predators ourselves, and now we're the smartest predator. We are on top of the food chain. Nothing that hunts us to eat us anymore, because we're scary. Nothing really wants to take us on.
That's true.
We're
endurance hunters, which is almost unheard of in nature.
Yeah, I have playfully chased my dog a couple times, and when I chase her and just don't stop, she freaks out. She gets scared. Like, what? Like, it's not you.
What is this creature?
Exactly.
It's inhuman.
It is human. That's the problem. It is a dog.
Oh, no, it is human. It is on dog. It is in canine.
It is canine. And hello, sleeping Wendigo.
Yes, sleeping Wendigo is here. Right after we stopped talking about Wendigos.
It's like he heard the call, or they heard the call.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure.
Yeah, sleeping Wendigo's ears were burning. But no, yes, absolutely. So, humans are scary creatures in terms of nature, because, like, for one thing, we don't play by the rules. Secondly, it's just, we got big brain energy. What else can be said, Like, something would have to be more intelligent than us to pose a threat. Because literally anything in nature that tries to, kind of get around us has to be exceedingly strong in order for us to take it even the slightest bit seriously. And I'm talking about events of catastrophic nature here. Because, all right, so hurricanes, tsunamis, um, let's see, other things, earthquakes. We can't control that yet, but we're trying. So, like in order for something to be a predator that preys on humans, it would have to be just ridiculously scary, like more so than the human beings themselves.
Yeah.
Sleeping Wendigo says the Loch Ness monster is most likely a large lake. How
Yeah.
large can eels get, out of curiosity?
I don't know. I wonder if they're one of the creatures that will get as big as their area. They're like goldfish are like that. They'll get as big as the area around them.
Yeah, I found out the other day that koi fish are really just giant goldfish, and that blew my mind.
Europeans can get to 60 to 80 centimeters, while Americans can get to 50 centimeters. Short-finned eels can get to 90 centimeters, so not very big. 3.6 kilograms or 4 kilograms. So they're not normally very big. They're very, like, so 80 centimeters is...
How many feet is that,
I'm
out of
going
curiosity?
2.6.
Me and my American.
2.6 feet.
Okay.
That's not big.
Oh,
That's tiny.
Sleeping Wendigo says that they went extinct, though. We did have a predator that hunted humans. Dinophalis, a large cat that hunted other hominids. Huh.
But it went extinct.
That is...
Which is fair. I mean, I could see that because the only reason we would have to start growing our brain the way we did, the way we would become what we are, is because there was something hunting us. There has to be a reason why one died out while the other survived. And hello, Jelly Bean. Probably Ray's gonna
Jelly
show up
Bean.
in a second. I bet you. I've come to realize that wherever Jelly Bean is, Ray is shortly behind her for some reason. Not like they're married or something.
I do have to throw this out there, because it is something kind of cool that I recently came across. It's this theory that what do you call it? The uncanny valley instinct in humans exists because there's a reason for it to exist. There's a lot of there's a lot of talk of well, evolutionarily things develop for a reason. Usually the reason...
What is something you feel is true but cannot prove it? It was on a TikTok. Our uncanny valley, the fact that when something looks humanoid, looks real, but isn't quite it, and how it puts us on alert, and how everything about you just goes ee about it. There has to be a reason.
So it's well, a lot of the times these instincts develop because they have to, because you have to use them to survive, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this one is really in there. So people are like, well, that means that at some point our brain decided it is important for you to realize that something is trying to be human but isn't.
Wendigos are like that, though. Wendigos will look human, but there'll be something off about them. They don't get something right always. There's always the face is off, the body's off, the way they move is off. They can imitate but not perfectly.
And skinwalkers
sorry,
also.
that's skinwalker. Sorry, it's not the Wendigo.
Yes.
It's because we have Sleepy Wendigo. So yes, skinwalkers, and that's what alerts you to them.
Right.
Is the fact that there's something off. Their voice, And also, they can't change what the voice does. They always mimic it. So it's always like a little kid crying, but it's always the same like the whole time. You can tell it's on a repeat. You can tell that there's something off about it. It's not right. Well, a real kid crying won't do the same noise over and over again. It changes. It morphs because they're either getting worse or better or whatever. And then they're like, you know, Serafin, and it'll be the same thing over and over again, the same words, the same voice, the exact same inflections, while the real human cannot make themselves sound the same way more than once normally.
Right. Terrifying things to consider.
Yes, maybe.
Yeah.
Skinwalkers have been around for a very long time, and they are our actual predator. Wouldn't be surprised.
Maybe.
It's very weird that we don't actually have a predator anymore. Not something that goes out of its way to hunt us anymore. That isn't disease.
Well, yeah, disease is our new predator.
I think that really has become our new predator because it's the only thing that really kills us now is disease and things wrong with our bodies.
I'm actually Googling Dinophelus since they were saying that it's the last known predator that we had. And there is actually some really terrifying images of this creature rendered taking down apes. So Dinophelus, better known as the Ape Slayer, and it looks like a giant jaguar that is the stuff of nightmares. Oh my gosh. Laura says, the Uncanny Valley is a leftover thing from the Android Wars. I believe it. For me, I always kind of thought that maybe it was kind of like an alien type thing. Especially since, you know, we continue to have encounters with things like the Black-Eyed Kids and the Men in Black and all kinds of other things that are mimicking to a degree, but we are always sure that they're not, you know? Often imitated, never duplicated. Germs, bacteria are, for the most part, our friends. We need them to survive.
Yes.
That is true. Yeah.
Yes, we need them, but the ones that do, in quotes, turn against us are our biggest killer. Cancer, flu, the pandemic that we're having right now, like, all that is like our biggest enemy because there isn't really a really good way of fighting them right away. We're really good at being off topic. And yeah, they're originally
I know, right?
they're originally from the Africa dinosaurs. Oh my god. I see a skeleton of an ape getting its teeth going through the eyes and the back of the skull, and oh my lord, that is nightmare fuel.
Nature has this way of being extremely beautiful and extremely terrifying all at the same time.
They kind of remind me of saber-tooths in a way.
Yeah?
Unless that was a saber-tooth I was looking at, because it had such long teeth. But their teeth are very long. Very scary. I'm kind of happy they went extinct. I like cats, except for that they make me sneeze. Well, jeez, yeah, it's scary. Ugh, cancer is not a disease. Yeah, no, that's an imperfection in our bodies that has gotten past all of our stuff. I was just listing off different things that kills us. A lot of it is internal, really, but certain things that if we ingest will cause the cancer to get worse. There'd be more likelihood, too. So in some ways. Maybe just going crazy.
Right. Yeah. It's not hard to believe that a new predator to evolve to hunt us down in the future, and Dinophilis is a false saber-toothed cat. I'm more concerned about my fellow humans. We are our own worst enemy in many ways, and I agree with that.
Yes. The worst killer for humans is humans. Sharks kill 8 humans a year. We kill hundreds of them. Elephants are pretty much almost like have gotten really bad because of humans. But at the same time, our murder rates are high. We hunt each other. We have serial killers who go out of their way to kill other humans.
It might, you know how wacky it would be if humans had divergent evolutionary paths. So the more aggressive of us like became a completely separate species that preyed on the less aggressive of them.
You mean like the time machine?
Not something I'm familiar with.
So the book, I think it's by H.G. Wells. A guy makes a time machine, and he goes into the future, and so far into the future that the human race has divided, where there are docile humans, and then there are the more predator humans that eat the other humans. Actually, a legit book that's already written 100 years ago.
Huh.
You were not the first to think of it.
Dang, I thought for sure I was onto something. I was like, I better capitalize on quick.
But would not be shocking if that happened. If there was a reason for it. They were divided due to the moon falling onto the planet, and that caused some problems. So they did get divided in some way, and then the ones had to survive off of the lesser humans. And I'm pretty sure it's the Morlocks and the Elos, or what they were recalled.
Got it. I still think that's a dope thing. That is a cool premise.
Yes, it is. The thought of being separated and being changed.
Sleeping Wendigo says that bulls and cows kill 24 people a year, and they work with bulls and cows. Huh.
Is it only 24? I thought it was higher than that. I thought it was much higher than that.
If I'm not mistaken, like the animal with the biggest grudge against humanity, if I'm not mistaken, is the hippo.
Oh, yes.
And people don't believe it because they look so dopey. You know, they look almost like a Disney cartoon. But apparently they're extremely aggressive against anything that gets in their territory. And humans, being who we are, love to pet the animals.
And hippos are very territorial. They don't want anyone near them. They're very aggressive. They're very powerful animals. And I still want a goddamn house hippo.
Beg pardon? What the heck? What is a house?
You're not Canadian. Any Canadian in the chat will know what a house hippo is. It was an old commercial about this house hippo lives in your house. It is a little creature that makes its nest out of lint and other things, and it enjoys peanut butter. You can tell you have a house hippo with small footprints and blah blah. And in the end, like, that seemed really real, didn't it? But you knew it couldn't be true. And then it'll show like the real house hippos out in the savannah, and it's just like, I want a house hippo now. I want a goddamn house hippo now. Thank you.
Oh, that's great.
Yes, I will send you the link to the house hippo. Everyone must know about the house hippo. I love the house hippo. I remember watching going, no, hippos don't live in houses. Hippos are too big. And it was really small. It's the size of like a gerbil. They made it look like.
Oh, that would be great. According to Reaper's Horror, do not watch the most recent interpretation of the Time Machine movie. It was bad. So very bad.
It's probably the one I watched. Not gonna lie, it's probably the one I watched. I didn't mind it too much. Like, I got the story, so. But
Yeah.
it's probably the one I watched. I watched it at my sister's house. She had it, and I was like, "Oh, this seems interesting." So we are at the 2-hour mark. And
2 hours.
I didn't think we would talk this long.
Well, I mean, the thing is, whenever you open the can on cryptids, speculation becomes a thing.
Yes.
And speculation leads into tangents, and tangents lead into really, really cool discussions like house hippos and why, in the future, humans are the predators to other humans. Which, actually, we're not that far off.
We're already doing it. We're already doing it. There are already human predators. There are already serial killers. Serial killers are human predators. That's what they do.
That's right.
And
there are other kinds of human predators that are, lured into traps by Chris Hansen.
I mean, the cops are there the cops are human predators too. I mean, they're there to track down the bad humans and put them in jail. And
sure, but I mean, there's a difference between doing something for the sake of a purpose, and so that's just the way we is,
Well, most serial killers are like that. They have an itch. They can't stop themselves from doing it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the longer when they first start, it's slow and meticulous, and as it goes longer, they'll speed up their cooldown. So a serial killer has to kill 3 people to be considered a serial killer, but they also have to have a cool off period and an MMO. That's how you get it classified as a serial killer. So really, if you only kill 2 people but the same 2 MMOs, you're still not a serial killer. You have to kill that 3rd before you. Now, if you catch them before they get that, there is always they always can come to the inkling that most likely what they did was they stopped a serial killer before they got their ball rolling. So.
Gotcha. Well, I think that it's a good thing that we can that the human race is really good at recognizing patterns.
Yes.
And we therefore are excellent at, making these connections like, hey, these serial killers seem to operate on a certain scale, and they have a tendency to escalate the further they go, so better step in right now.
Problem is when you have more than one serial killer acting in the same area, it muddies things. So there's more to it as well. There is a highway in British Columbia called the Highway of Tears, and it's called that because so many women, specifically mostly indigenous women, there have been a few white women that have gotten kidnapped or have disappeared or been killed on this highway, but it's mostly been indigenous, sadly. And they're pretty sure it's more than one serial killer there, and that's what's causing the problems, because they've only found a couple bodies, and so they're not getting all the information. And you have more than one, well, one's MO will be they don't give a hoot, they'll just take anyone, and then there's other people who will only go after the person with the brown hair and the blue eyes and all this other stuff. So there's difference. Well, there's the serial killer that is very particular about their victim, which was what that was what Bundy was.
Okay. Ted Bundy. I knew it started with a T. He was very particular. He was killing his ex-girlfriend over and over again. It was women that reminded him of his ex-girlfriend. So they always had brown hair, parted in the middle, and some other stuff. Like, it was always his ex-girlfriend that he was killing, specifically. That was his MO. While you have the people who go, I only kill women. They don't care if they have brown hair. They don't care if they have blue eyes, but they're victims. And then you have the other ones that just don't care. They'll just kill anyone too. But they will always kill them in a certain way, torture or cutting things off and stuff like that. So they always have an MMO. So there's a way to pick up on them, but you have to figure out what the MMO is. What Right.
What gratification are they getting out of it? What is that they have to do to make that kill perfect? Because they are trying to get to the perfect kill. They're never going to get it, but they have this idealized perfect kill in their head, and that's what they're trying to do every time.
This is why I would be a bad detective, because in my head, like if I was analyzing Bundy's kill gallery, I'd be like, wow, all these women have brown hair and it's all parted down the middle. That's a heck of a coincidence. I wonder what he's doing.
Well, and I don't even know, because serial killers were very new when Ted was around. So I don't know if they fully put that together. I think Ted Bundy is where they started putting stuff together with it, where they started. And probably a lot of cops were like, oh, this is a coincidence. But once you start adding the body up and they all have brown hair and it's all parted in the middle, okay, you start seeing a pattern there. Like, all 4 of these women are the exact same in that way. That says something to you. All of them are white. That says something to you. All of them went missing around a college. That says something. They're all the same age. That does, like, all of those things start saying things when they're about the same age range, the same color, same. All that does mean, all of them being women says something too. Ted was a terrible, terrible man. The difference between Ted Bundy and Manson is Ted Bundy was a serial killer, Manson was a cult leader. Both of them killed people.
And he wrote a song for the Beach Boys, which I was completely unaware of.
That was before all that, though. Like, that was before anyone knew what he was
before he went off the edge. Yeah.
Yes, because he was trying to make Helter Skelter happen, which was
Right.
the black and the white people going to war. And he thought the Beatles were trying to get them to do it. That there was a message in one of their songs. They're like, I don't know who the hell I don't know who Manson is.
Right. Reaper's Horror says that he recommends checking out Time Machine from 1960. It's a really good film and very close to the book. Let's see.
And then
PA says
it's just MMO is their mono I can't say it properly. That's why I say it's MMO.
yeah, that they so he says it's MO for modus operandi. I think you were putting 2 M's in there. It was an
Yes.
MMO, like Maximus modus operandi.
Yes.
They cannot deviate from it.
I think I was also saying MMO because I played MMOs when I was a kid, so MO.
And Sleeping Wendigo says, not to mention that he did escape and killed again for a couple of days.
Yeah, that's because they didn't expect him to go out the window in the library. Like, we're talking this. It was back in the 60s. Yeah.
There was a learning curve. There was a learning curve involved.
There was a learning curve with Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy made them learn a lot of things.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine. I was putting too many M's, and that's because of MMO and not MO.
Right. I kind of picture that, like the detective, just going back to what we were talking about earlier, was really just 3 otters in a trench coat. And like whenever they first caught Ted Bundy, he's like, all right, now Ted, we're going to leave you in this room and we're going to go over to the next room to discuss our next plan of action. Stay here, okay? We're trusting you. Yeah, and he just like steps out and Ted's like, are they serious? And he just like walks out, like doors unlocked and everything. All right, vámonos.
Yeah, he didn't go out the front door. He went out the window. He had asked for privacy so he could work on being a lawyer for his own court date.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So that's why you're not allowed to be alone in a room anymore, even when you use the washroom, because someone did that with the washroom too at some point. Yeah, you're not allowed to be alone at all because someone went out the window in a washroom. Because they're tricky. They don't want to go to jail. They don't want to be killed. Ted Bundy was executed. He knew he was going to be executed. So what's the risk of going out the window? There was lots of risk.
It's very true.
And the reward was so high. The reward was his freedom. The reward was being able to go out and do what he wanted, which sadly was killing more women.
Right. I don't know. I guess it's just I'm such a nice guy that like if they put me in a room, even if I the risk of staying was high, They'd be like, all right, throw them in this room. Don't go nowhere. And I'd be like, okay. And the thought would never cross my mind. Hey, I wonder
Because
if that door is open.
you're not a psychopath. Well, a psychopath, not all psychopaths are serial killers, but most serial killers are psychopaths.
Right.
Because they can't. And I do want to say that distinction. So when you hear psychopath, you don't think, oh my God, serial killer. Because there are people who are able to work with it. But the problem is they don't care what you feel. They can't feel emotion, really. Not to the same extent we do. They do feel emotions, but they don't feel all of them. And it's all about them and what they want and what they need. They can't empathize to you. They can't feel what you're feeling. They can't even put themselves in your own shoes. And it is something wrong with their brains. While there's me, on the other hand, who is a complete opposite. I will do stuff for other people far beyond what I should because I can put myself in their shoes so well that I'm like, I don't want to hurt them. I don't want to put them out of the way. So it's just the chemical difference, and maybe that's the next evolution to having serial killers. We've had murderers for a very long time, but serial killers are a newer concept that we know of. The first serial killer that was properly recorded was
Jack the Ripper?
Yes, he's the first serial killer for sure, because his MMO was prostitutes, but the prostitutes were also easier to kill. Cops looked the other way. They would bring strange men into their homes. They would get close to strange men. They were the perfect victim, and sadly, they are still the perfect victim.
Right. I was about to say, that hasn't changed an awful lot since the days of Jack the Ripper.
We need to take the stigma away from it. Prostitution has been around for so long. It is the oldest job that has been around.
Also, it is my understanding that, and this might be a rumor, I'm not sure if it's true, but supposedly scientists taught chimps about currency. Showed them what currency was. And the moment they took a hands-off approach, prostitution became a thing.
Yeah, completely. No, because it makes sense. Like, I will give you my body if you give me that money.
Yeah.
I will give you my body for that apple. It's just,
right.
It makes complete sense. There has been prostitution for a long time in the apes. They've seen it without the money too, because if you give yourself your body to this guy, he will give you protection. It
right.
makes sense. So yes, prostitution, I strongly believe we need to start protecting them because they are the worst victims. They get treated the worst because it is a stigma. They get STDs. They can't get treated. They go in. They get raped. I'm not supposed to say that on YouTube. They get raped, and the cops just go, "Well, you put yourself in that situation. It's all your fault."
Right.
Well, there is a very strong difference between the two.
Derringer, you're here.
Derringer, he made it.
You made it, and I did want to mention that we will be discussing the Tsuchinoko on next episode per your request.
Perfect.
I don't know how much info there is on it, but if there is enough info to carry an entire episode, yeah, by all means. Otherwise, it might be like a little bit of a mashup of Tsuchinoko and Dogman.
What have we been talking about this whole time that hasn't been about the Ogopogo?
Oh yeah, that's true.
So
that's very true.
We've had other things to talk about. Don't worry.
Laura said, I just want to throw a couple of things out here. Sleeping Wendigo points out that there were 5 canonical victims to Jack the Ripper, and the rest of them are speculations. And there is also speculations that there might be more than the canonical 5.
Yes.
Additionally, Laura says that spy is the second oldest profession.
Yes.
Prostitution being the oldest.
Yes, prostitution is the oldest, definitely.
Right. Reaper's Horror says sociopathic tendencies run in my family, though not psychopathic. Learn to deal with it to an extent, though empathy and experiencing a full range of emotions is still difficult. And it is absolutely possible to be a function, like have sociopathic tendencies and still not turn into like a Ted Bundy type of person. Absolutely.
That's why I always say most serial killers are them, but most that are them aren't serial killers. It's a very small range of people. There's a bunch of other things that have to go with it. Ted Bundy's life growing up, he was treated like garbage. He didn't have a good life. He was treated badly by women. There was a bunch of other stuff that went into it. And so it's not, and there are warning signs. Hurting small animals, killing small animals is one of the biggest warning signs. And pyromancy. Most will set things on fire when they're kids. Those traits are warning signs.
It kind of goes a long way into like solidifying that maybe environment is is a big key. It's not it's nurture plays a big factor in a lot of these things. It's not just nature. Nature made you one way, but the nurture of the environment can go a long way to pointing you in the right direction.
There has to be a certain nature there, but if the nurture also coincides in the bad way, you're done. That's all. And I don't want to say that all serial killers are psychopaths, and because I'm not 100% sure on that. I just know it's a high statistic, but they have traced hurting small animals, psychopathy, and pyromancy are all traits for serial killers. Those are specific things that they have tracked with a lot of serial killers that they have caught. As small children, they would do that. So, yes, and most killers were abused as kids. Yes, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
That's another big one. The abuse, a lot of sexual abuse too. Sadly, a lot of them were sexually abused as children, and you now can no longer trust the adults in your life. So you're going to sooner or later let that rage out in different ways, and it's horrible and terrible, and it breaks my heart. But there's no way of going back and changing anything. And sadly, when you're an adult at that point, they're not going to change, and they knew perfectly well by this point they were wrong. You can't just go, well, my childhood was bad. A lot of people's childhoods were bad. It is your responsibility to go get the help you need as well when you get older, when you're able to.
They have to have the knowledge that the help is available, though, which is I think a huge pitfall in modern society is that you can't let it be a crutch, though, because as soon as you open that door for one person, you open it for everyone. And that's the problem, because just because Joe didn't know about it, Tim might tell you he didn't, but he did, right? So you can't open the door. What I think would be the necessary thing here is we have to make it known, like, what is acceptable in society and what isn't.
We also
need to make it known
that jail is not punishment completely. There are certain people that need to be punished, but it is a rehabilitation center where you find a serial killer. Okay, well, he had a really bad childhood. Well, give him therapy. See if you can work with him. Maybe he'd never be in the rest of the world, but you could make it where he contributes in some way, in some different, or at least to make him understand what he was doing. I don't believe killing. Serial killers are the exception. I do believe, because you get enough evidence to know that they have killed tons of people, the death penalty for them is fine. We do know they are guilty completely, but those people who've only killed one person, the problem is we've had so many come out recently. They weren't guilty. They're already dead. You can't take it back. Right. Well, if you had let them live, you found out 20, 30 years later, at least they could have some kind of a life afterwards. Instead, when you kill them, you're done. You can't unkill someone. That's my biggest problem with the death penalty. penalty. Again, serial killers are being the exception because normally we have 5, 6 bodies, victims towards them. Maybe one wasn't theirs, but the other 4 not being theirs and being traced back to them is highly improbable. So that's where my exception is, where I'm like, if you really believe the death penalty is the right thing, serial killers are okay. But if they haven't killed multiple people, and we've proven they've killed all these people in more than one go, don't kill them. Because I can think of one where there's this guy in jail right now where they think he killed his family. There's a lot of evidence proving he didn't kill his family. So he has, in quotes, been in jail for multiple people, and he would be excluded in my head because it was in one night. So it's easier to make him fit because it was one night. Well, from what I was hearing, with that story, I'm leaning towards he's actually not the killer, and it was something else that was going on, and it had to do with a father. I had pissed off bad people.
I'm pretty sure that there are like some regulations, depending on the degree of the crime noted, and that determines whether or not death penalty is actually an option to begin with.
It is, but we have dead people that have been proven innocent. We have people who have gone and been killed by the state, and they found out with DNA testing after the fact they didn't do it.
Oof.
So that's my real big problem is you now have an innocent man you killed 20 years ago. You literally took his life away from him, and he didn't kill that woman. How is that fair? How can you ever make that up to anyone, let alone him and his family? So that's my biggest problem with the death penalty. Is just because you're making something permanent, and we know that cops get narrow-minded. They get so focused on things that they will not look at the actual killer. They've had the killer in their book this whole time, but their suspect was just so perfect. But he happened to have an alibi, but we made sure it didn't look like he had that alibi. Stuff like that. There's been proof. And a
lot of that comes down to human error. Is kind of the thing. Is the most we can do until we discover truth serum is make a guess and hope we're right.
Well, I don't believe in the polygraph. That needs to go away.
No, the polygraph is something that they've said millions of times. This thing can be cheated and a false.
The creator if it tried to get rid of it.
Right, the creator was like, man, no.
Exactly. So
like the best they can do is give you a reading of like their state as they're speaking, which we can use to infer whether or not they're being truthful or not. But this isn't a 100% science. Signs point to that there's distress in the person.
Yes.
Now that can mean they're lying,
or that they're being interrogated. They're around cops.
Or that they're being interrogated. Which, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure I'd be distressed if I was being interrogated.
Which is why they're supposed to have the control. So they're supposed to have the control questions like, is your name Serafin? Do you live at blah, blah, blah? Are you this old? And so those are all supposed to be control questions to give them the underline. And then anything that goes above that is where they're saying that you're being deceitful. If I ever get asked to do a polygraph, I will flat out every time say no. Never. Because we have put so many people in jail because of a polygraph that means nothing.
And the sad part is if you say no, a lot of the times that looks bad on you.
Yeah. I've seen that.
They're like, if you got nothing to hide, then why are you saying no to the polygraph? I'm like, because it is a terrible way of determining whether
because it has been proven time and time again, it doesn't do what you say.
Right. So it's just kind of like, I don't know. I don't know what you would expect me to do here. Now, I found there's this show and I forget what it's called. I think it's called Hack Everything. And they told you the most surefire way to beat a polygraph and it is the simplest thing on the planet. And I was like, really? And I've always been curious. I was like, I want to try it just to see if that's true. Because if it is, it's ridiculous how easy it is to get around it.
Yeah, and PA, fun fact, almost every killer will insert themselves into the investigation. During your interview or witness, you will have most likely interviewed the killer. Yeah, they will look more closely. And most of the time, the killer is the person closest to them. So that's why they will always look at the significant other very closely. Because statistically speaking, they did it.
I am terrified of anything happening to anyone who's even remotely close to me, because it's like, oh, husband's got to be the one that done it.
Well, they just
like,
have, they have, like, they always will talk them in, and they won't, like, oh, you did it, but they will make sure they rule you out. They have
yeah, but imagine how weird this is. Okay, so, like, all right, so it's more often than not, it's the significant other, right?
Yes.
And then on top of that, like, the person who does it more often than not will involve themselves or insert themselves into the investigation.
Yes, if they're
so
an outsider. Yep.
You already got like a 2 strikes against you if you're the significant other, because
No,
for
no,
one,
the
you're the significant other.
No, no,
Second,
the
you're
significant...
inserting yourself. Of course I have.
No. The significant other doesn't count into that. That's when it's a stranger. So, or
okay.
a friend. So, even though, let's say, if the husband did it, the husband's not going to insert himself because he's already in it. While Joe, the friend, will make sure that he helps and goes and searches for the body. He'll ask questions. He'll try to figure out what's going on, how much you know. All that stuff. That's how it's not the significant other, and it's not a family member, nor like a immediate family member. They're talking, when it comes to that statistic, it's someone that's a friend or someone that doesn't know anyone. That's when they will insert themselves, because again, the family member is already going to be a part of it. There is no inserting yourself. You are part of it because they are they're in your zone. Yeah, and I was talking about serial killers.
Because I was gonna say, like, gosh, that would be so dumb.
Yes, and it is talking about serial killers and actual killers. Just one person that killed someone will do it as well. So if, let's say an ex-friend killed their friend, and they should have nothing to do with it in any way, they will insert themselves. They will be asking how everyone's doing. Do we need to look for the body? I really hope we find them. Stuff like that. Serial killers do it too. And cops will look at anyone who's a little too into it as well. That's a big warning sign.
And I've heard also that a lot of the times people who find the body are automatically implicated, where it's like, yeah, like, even if they're innocent, now the police are looking at it. Like, okay, well,
they have to rule them out, because a lot of the time the person who finds the body is the one that did it too, because they're either knowing that they're about to find the body, so they want to be the hero.
Right.
Or they're trying to go, well, I only just found the body, so they won't look at them much. So statistically speaking, they're more likely to be the killer as well. Again, it's the same thing with the significant other. Statistically speaking, it's a significant other. They're not going to assume it is, but they have to rule out. They have to cross their T's. They have to dot their I's, because statistically speaking, the person who's closest to them killed them. Okay, statistically speaking, the person who's inserting themselves into the investigation is the killer. The person who found the body statistically is the one that killed them. So they have to make sure, because if they don't, it's going to be that time where they were right.
Right. And I gotta point out what Sleeping Wendigo says here. Also true. They want to see how close they are to catching them, which is the reason that it would, like, gets that I would be the person checking in on the investigation if I had done it, because in my head I'm like, well, are they on to me?
Exactly.
I wouldn't be able to help myself. I would be like, I need to know.
That's the same thing with them. That's them too. They have to know. They have to know how much you know. How close are you to find me? What do I need to get rid of? So, yes, we are talking kind of sort of about Among Us. But we should end the stream here. We've been on for 2.5 hours.
Okay. Well, thank you to everyone who stopped by to check us out. I want to thank Laura, PA. I want to say thank you to
Wendigo.
Raven, Sleeping Wendigo, Derringer stopped in for a little bit,
Gamma.
Reaper's Horror, Gamma, Philia, and everyone else who I didn't get to say thank you to. You guys are the bomb, and we are always happy to see you.
And yes, Reaper, we were talking about random weird stuff now. This is how our podcasts go. And that's okay.
we start on cryptids, we end on serial killers.
That's just how 42 go.
Yeah, tune in next week where we start on Tsuchinoko and end on a casserole.
And we end on a what?
Perfect casserole.
Oh, okay. You cut off, so I wanted to be sure that was clear.
Oh, apologies. But also, it's not next week. It'll be next month.
Yes. So next
Yes.
month, this is a once a month. We don't have the date yet. We will definitely be posting that as soon as we know.
Yep.
Let me close all these things that I have too many things open. There we go. Thank you everyone for joining us. I guess I'll do the outro. Sorry. It's been a weird weekend. Once you join the collective, you can leave nevermore.
Adios.
say I am.